Alright, this is a compilation video of my facts, trivia, and error shorts from one of the Transformers films. I know this probably isn't the typical compilation video that you're used to watching, but hey, I hope you enjoy. Did you notice this Easter egg in Michael Bay's first Transformers film? When Megatron transforms and lands to start chasing Sam Witwicky, he grabs and tosses a car behind him. If you look closely at the license plate on this car, you can see that it says Energon. Energon is, of course, the fuel and lifeblood of Transformers. While there's not much to it, this is a very neat blink and you'll miss it Easter egg. Did you notice this error in Michael Bay's first Transformers film? A truck drives by Optimus Prime, and he quickly scans and assumes its form. But if you look closely, the truck that drove by already had the Autobot logo on the grille, and once we see Optimus transformed, he is actually missing this Autobot logo on the grille. Maybe he hadn't put the logo there yet as an in-movie explanation, and obviously the real-world explanation is that they just used the actual prop truck for that scene, but it's still kind of funny once you notice. Did you notice this error in Michael Bay's first Transformers film? After Optimus Prime and Megatron start their battle at the end of the film, Megatron tosses Optimus a short distance down the street that is full of cars, with Optimus himself landing on one. But when the shot cuts back to Optimus, he is further down the street, and all but one of the cars that were on the street before are gone. In the following shot, Optimus Prime shoots his cannon, while civilians hide behind a parked taxi that was not there in the previous shot or in the following shot where the street goes back to being empty. This vehicle is also different than the one that Optimus Prime landed on when Megatron first tossed him. This isn't a big deal and it doesn't ruin the scene or anything like that, but it is an odd series of errors. Did you know about these Bumblebee concept designs done for the first live-action Transformers film? There were quite a few designs done for Bumblebee that, while they shared some design elements, did not make it into the finished film, including a few different and some very cool head designs to some very cool full body designs. This one in particular looks great, and you can really see some of the influence on both the final design and the 2007 old Camaro Bumblebee, particularly in the feet. This one here popped up a bunch. You can see a lot of the influence on the final design, with really only the head and chest being the major differences. This one even made it into the early artwork for a cover of the IDW prequel comic, along with one of the alternate head designs. It's very cool to see the things that changed, but also what stayed the same. For instance, the arms and legs do have some differences here and there, but for the most part, they're pretty much the same. And it led here, which as you can see is pretty much the same as what we ended up getting in the finished film. Do you know why the first thing Megatron did was introduce himself in the first live-action Transformers film? During the film, Megatron is thawed out from containment under the Hoover Dam, and the first thing he says is this. Some have found this a little strange, but there is a reason for it even if it isn't explicitly stated within the movie itself. The intention was that Megatron was supposed to be conscious while he was frozen, so he could see and hear everything around him. And of course Sector 7 only referred to him as NBE-1, so that's all he heard himself referred to as for the longest time. Of course he likely overheard Sam and Agent Simmons back and forth in regards to his name. As mentioned before, this is not explicitly stated within the film itself, but this intention made its way into both the IDW comic adaptation of the film and the sequel comic The Reign of Starscream. I find this idea pretty cool. I just wish there was actually a reference to Megatron being conscious during his frozen imprisonment. Did you know that Ratchet can be spotted dual wielding in the first live-action Transformers film? During the film, the Autobots rescue Sam and Mikaela from Sector 7, but are soon to be followed by reinforcements. While the Autobots are standing together, you can see Ratchet dual wielding. We normally only see him with one gun, and as far as I know, we don't see him dual wield again in this movie or in any of the other ones. So it's kind of a one-off thing, which is interesting. Another cool thing to note too is if you look closely, you can also see that he has the missiles from the MPM figure. These details are easy to miss, but I think they're pretty cool and from an awesome shot. Did you notice this error about the depth of the Laurentian Abyss at the end of the first Transformers film? During the end of the film, the Secretary of Defense, John Keller, explains that Sector 7 is going to be terminated and that the bodies of the dead Decepticons are going to be dropped into the ocean. During the scene, he specifically says this.
The Laurentian Abyss is 7 miles below sea level, deepest place on our planet.
But this is not true. At most, the Laurentian Abyss is estimated to be 19,685 feet or 3.7 miles deep. In actuality, the Challenger Deep, located within the Mariana Trench, is the deepest place on the planet, with an estimated depth of 35,856 feet, or about 6.79 miles deep. I feel like they either got the names mixed up or the depth of each one mixed up. Or maybe they changed it intentionally, who knows. In any case, I find this error in particular to be baffling because it's so easy to check up on it. Did you know that Barricade died in the novel and comic adaptations of the first live-action Transformers film? In the film, the last time we see Barricade is on the highway just before Bone Crusher transforms, and he is never seen again, which at the time led to much speculation about what happened to him. We would learn later in Dark of the Moon that he survived, but in the IDW adaptation of the film, Barricade is shown being killed by Optimus Prime just after the fight with Bone Crusher. He's thrown by Optimus Prime and his head is knocked off. He's also described as being killed by Optimus in the novel of the movie. The IDW comics done after the adaptation would ignore this, however, giving an explanation for Barricade's disappearance and having him pop up in other stories. Even if it led to his odd disappearance, I'm glad that Barricade wasn't killed, especially like this. He's just too freaking cool even if he doesn't do much. Did you know about these pieces of concept art done for Optimus Prime in the first live-action Transformers film? As you'll see through here, Optimus Prime had a lot of concept art done. A few showed different body designs, while plenty showed different head designs, especially since it seems like they settled on the body design fairly early. At least that's what it looks like to me. But there's a lot of pretty cool stuff here. Some of them are more odd than others, but I still think some pretty neat designs. But even if I do like a bunch of these, obviously I still vastly prefer what we got in the film. The Bay Trilogy Optimus design is just too freaking cool, but it is very neat to see how it evolved over time. The scene here of Starscream attacking the F-22 squad from the first Transformers film is awesome. I honestly believe this is one of, if not the best example of Transformer action in live action, if for no other reason than how Starscream uses his transforming ability in this scene, effortlessly switching in between forms and blending in. It's an awesome scene. It's Starscream's best action scene in the films. It's a highlight of the 2007 film, and I'd say an action highlight of the Transformers film series as a whole, despite the fact that this is relatively short. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to members of my Patreon. In my Average Bird tier, there is Schmocktimus Prime, and in my Birds of Prey tier, there is Austin Gillis and Darth Spooby. Your channel support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. As always, I want to give a big thanks to everyone for watching, and have a good one.